Hi everyone, and welcome back to It's Rick Thing. Just a quick video today in reference to the iPhone X launch, the phone itself, and my gripes about it. So I have the iPhone 7 Plus, but was having some problems with the display. I had the display fixed not so long ago due to some unusual coloring in it. And now when I use Touch ID and unlock the phone, it doesn't auto-rotate to go into landscape mode whilst I'm in portrait mode. And sometimes it gets stuck there. So I found that very frustrating, and the only way I could get that fixed again was to have the display fixed again. Unfortunately, the phone was out of warranty. The repairer had been out of warranty as well. So it was either take a chance on another screen or jump in line for the iPhone X. I have been an iPhone user for 10 years now, and I still have the original iPhone here at home. So I figured iPhone X. Yeah, let's do it. So I lined up at 6:30 in the morning. Oh, sorry, 6:30 at nighttime. And of course was there till 8 o'clock the next day. Was fourth in line and was fortunate enough to be broadcasted on ABC and SBS News. The line was probably got to like 150 by the time we're done, so it wasn't a huge line given the launch that was taking place. So once I got the iPhone X, which I got the two space gray iPhone Xs and 256 gig, went home and started trying it out. So as everyone knows, the control panel on the iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 is a simple gesture from the bottom going up with your finger. Very good way of checking your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and be able to use the camera, etc. And of course, as we all know from the keynote, iOS 11 with iPhone X meant that would have to be done from the top instead. So I looked at that and went, oh, let's see if I can live with that. Turns out I really couldn't. I was holding the iPhone X in one hand and then having to use my other hand to actually scroll down from the top to get to the control center, which I found to be very frustrating, given that before it was simply a one-handed task with a finger gesture. So that was one thing. The next thing for me was the transitions of the iPhones. So I always turn off transitions and everything else and get rid of all the bells and whistles out of the Apple device so that I can have as quick a device as possible. Normally, not a problem. However, on the iPhone X, unfortunately, it is a problem, for me at least. The phone became quite glitchy, and when I went to scroll from the bottom up to get rid of the app, for some reason it would stick in the middle for a moment and pause, and then it would finally close. I'm not sure why I did that, because the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 7 do not do that. I found that very frustrating, and the overall experience of the phone wasn't as good unless I had the transitions and all the bells and whistles for the iPhone X turned on, which I didn't want to have to do. Now comes Face ID. I'm a huge fan of Touch ID because it makes it very simple. By the time I get the phone to my face, it's already unlocked, it's already at the home screen ready to rock and roll for me. Face ID, of course, doesn't work that way. Face ID I did set up properly, and of course had to hold the phone right in front of my face and then swipe up afterwards. Again, I thought I could live with that, but I started finding that quite annoying because if I was on the wrong angle or the phone was too far, then the Face ID simply would not pick my face up properly. And that just became more of a nuisance than anything else. The last thing I found really frustrating with the phone was multitasking. Of course, you have to swipe up from the bottom towards the top, pause in the middle, and then you get all your apps that you're using for multitasking. You can either scroll through those and select one, or of course you have to hold down an app for a moment and wait for that little symbol to pop up so you can actually close the app. I don't want to have to do that. I just want to be able to swipe up and have the apps all dismiss themselves. But of course you can't do that now. So it's as if Apple just added extra steps, just so they can get the gestures working, added extra steps so that you can do different things. So before it was very quick for me to do these tasks. then it became a more lengthy process because there was more steps involved. That frustrated me. It also frustrated my wife greatly. So, long story short, we ended up unfortunately taking the iPhone Xs back. I thought about the iPhone 8, but unfortunately it really was only up to 5% performance difference over my iPhone 7. So the question remains, what did I do about a phone? My iPhone 7 had some problems, iPhone 10 didn't work out, iPhone 8, not really worth it. So I've tried going to the Android system a few times in the past, and I've always found them to be a bit slow, a bit clunky, not great, except for, of course, the vanilla form of Android phones like the Nexus, etc. Those are good. My experience has been mostly with the Samsungs with TouchWiz, and of course everyone's going to say, well, that's the problem, you were using TouchWiz interface, just flash the ROM and it works. And I've done that in previous Samsung phones, and yes, it was better. However, we have been looking at the Note 8 for a while and thought, maybe this is the phone. All reviews say it's really, really well built, and it's got a beautiful screen, and its interface is much, much better now. So, okay, that's fine. I didn't want to have the bloatware of a carrier on a phone this time. So I went off and bought 2 unlocked Note 8s. That was my first mistake. Turns out, as I didn't know, that if you buy an unlocked version of the Note 8 and you put it onto AT&T and or Verizon, there's a lot of functionality that's not going to work. So basically my Wi-Fi calling didn't work, my visual voicemail didn't work, and there was other functions that I was missing as well. I was on the phone to AT&T for over 2 hours, and their technical support was absolutely fantastic. So a big shout out to the technical support team at AT&T. In the end, we could not get it to work. They tried to push updates out. They tried to change the IMEI number. They tried to do this. They tried to do that. They literally tried everything. They really exhausted all the options. Couldn't get it to work. Finally, they turned around and said, well, you just need to take the phone to AT&T and have them flash the ROM. Okay, but unfortunately that also voids your warranty. So, ended up going back to Best Buy and explaining what happened. And they just went, oh, yeah, shouldn't have bought the unlocked version of the phone. Now, I'll note here that the Best Buy I went to the second time was not the same Best Buy I had originally bought the phone from. The Best Buy in Montgomeryville is very knowledgeable. Their mobility section is fantastic, so a big shout out to them. They helped me out immensely with information and to get things sorted out. Ended up having to return the unlocked Note 8s and getting the AT&T Note 8s, which I was happy to see I was able to uninstall 90% of AT&T's bloatware and disable the other remaining amount that I didn't need. So finally have Wi-Fi calling, finally have everything else I need, which is fantastic. And the great thing about the Note 8 is that it has a big, wonderful, beautiful screen. The one thing I worried about, of course, was a fingerprint scanner, because of course it is located right next to the camera and the flash in the back. However, as you can see, I have fairly large hands, so for me, it turned out to not be an issue. So far, this phone has been fantastic. I turned off all the transitions, so it's nice and fast. The S Pen is fantastic. It's evolved immensely and is really, really good. The phone itself is so smooth and fast. As you can see, very smooth and fast. And the great thing about this phone, main screen, no longer have a button for apps. I just simply natural gesture going up, all my apps. Natural gesture going down, close the apps. Easy. One button for multitasking, one button to close all my apps out. Absolutely brilliant. And now, of course, you can disable the Bixby button, which is also great. And you can also tell the system not to use the Bixby window as part of your desktop, which is also fantastic. So I've been surprised by that. Another concern I had about the Note 8, of course, was the speaker volume. So I simply installed a sound booster on the phone and kept it fairly low because I didn't want to damage the speaker, but it's definitely louder than it was stock. I also wanted to change the notification lights around a little bit, so I installed a light notification app as well, which allowed me to change the color of those a little bit. So that's all been done as well, and it's going surprisingly well. So I've had the phone unplugged from being fully charged since 7 a.m. today. It's now 4:30 today, and the phone's only at 65%. And yes, I have been using it constantly for emails. I've been using it a lot for phone calls. I've been changing settings on it. I've been doing text messages. I've actually been using it, and it looks like I made the day with like 50 to 45% battery life, which is fantastic for an Android unit. And I haven't seen any performance drop. It's really quite surprising. So, in essence, I'm not happy that the iPhone 10 didn't work out for me. I really wanted it to. And I'm sure that Apple will bring out patches for the iPhone 10 to fix all the issues going on. However, I really didn't want to be the person to spend $1,200 on the phone only to have to wait on Apple to bring out those updates. That did not appeal to me or my wife. In relation to the updates, of course, the apps for the iPhone 10, a lot of them aren't optimized. So what that means is that the ones that are optimized, like Google Maps, for example, utilize the full screen when being viewed, which looks absolutely brilliant. But the ones that are not optimized, they have a thick border around the app. So it looks like you're using it on an iPhone 6 or iPhone 7. And yes, I know the app developers will be updating those so that is fixed. I have no doubt about that. But again, it's a matter of when. How long will that take? And what apps won't have that done anytime soon? Again, it was another situation of I didn't want to be the one spending $1,200 on a phone that I had to wait for all these updates to happen before the phone would actually function the way it should. That was my biggest gripe back in the day with Android, and it's surprisingly my gripe now with Apple, which I'm not particularly pleased with. So that's my experience with the iPhone 10, 7, 8, and now the Note 8. Happy to say the Note 8 is going fantastic. I'm sure they'll fix the iPhone 10. I'm really looking forward to the iPhone in 2019. I'm really looking forward to going from Android back to iPhone if Apple brings the goods, which I truly hope they will, and I felt confident that they will. Let me know in the comments below, what phone did you end up getting? Did you get the iPhone 8, 8 Plus? Did you get the iPhone 10? Did you go for the Note 8? What is your favorite feature about the iPhone 10, and what problems have you been having with it? Same goes for the Note 8. Let me know. I'm always interested to hear. If you have any questions, then please let me know that as well. As always, please subscribe, hit the like button, and if you turn notifications on, you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So until next time, take care.